All right. Welcome to Sideboard MTG. My name's Eric, and we're going to be jumping straight into this Simic Flash deck. Simic Flash is a new deck that's kind of popped up over the last week with the release of M20 and a couple new cards that we've gotten access to. The main one actually being Unsummon. Who knew? Unsummon coming back would be a good thing, great thing, right? Yeah, okay, so most of us knew that this would end up in some deck somewhere because it's a really powerful spell. And this is kind of the baseline for returning a creature to its owner's hand. We have seen more powerful versions of this card in the past with like Vapor Snag, where it would do the same thing yet do 1 point of damage. That can also be looked at as kind of like a negative as well, because a lot of times you might be unsummoning your own creature and then you would take that 1 point of damage. But in a tempo deck, the extra point of damage was really powerful. But unsummon has remained the baseline, and it's a major part of this new Simic Flash deck. Now, today we are going to be playing the Simic Flash deck, and there's a couple additions in this deck that you might not be used to. Well, one addition, one subtraction. During all last week, as we seen multiple variants of this deck come up, we seen the very first variant pop up that had 3 copies of Mu Yangling Sky Dancer, right? So we had multiple copies of Mu Yangling in the main board, 3 copies in the main board, and that's kind of shifted, right? Like as the week continued and we've seen more and more of these decks pop up, then we started seeing less and less Mu Yanglings pop in the deck. Now, out of that, we also seen a little bit of a subtraction from Spectral Sailor. Now, I know a lot of people are all about Spectral Sailor, and it does give you that pirate. It is a flash. It is also gives you some draw action, but the card itself is actually really weak, and considering we're not a deck that's putting Curious Obsession on a card like this, it just didn't really need to be a 4 of in the deck. So some of the newer versions of the deck are starting to peel back on this card a little bit. I doubt they're going to peel back beyond 3. But we even seen the mono blue decks drop down to 1 copy of Mistcloak Herald in those decks. So sometimes a 1/1 is just not the greatest thing in the world, but it is still a really powerful draw engine, and you do want to see it at some point in the game, and towards the latter portion of the game where they've already spent a lot of their resources and things like that. This is the kind of card that you really want to see to give you that mana sink, and it just shows that when you have a card that's both a 1/1 beater and a mana sink, at some point it's going to kind of balance out. Is this more important as a mana sink, or is it more important as a 1/1 beater? And the fact that we're seeing this drop down to three cards does show that that it's more for the mana sink, right? Like, we don't want this on turn 1 every single turn. That's not the issue. We're actually looking to play this towards the mid to late game. If we get it on 1, that's fine. We can do some work with it. We can even do some tricks to play it at instant speed, and put a counter on our Warden Cutthroats, which is actually one of the new powerhouses in the deck. Doesn't hurt that the deck, or that the card is both a pirate and a merfolk, as some of these versions of the deck have been foregoing some of their essence scatters or possibly even syncopates to run copies of Lookout's Dispersal. Is that the card? The pirate counter. It's a lot like Wizard's Retort, but it's more like Mana Leak. They have to pay 4 more mana if you control a pirate. It only costs 2 to cast. You can still cast it for 3, and they have to pay 4 more mana to be able to cast their spell. And it can counter anything. Not like a Spell Pierce. It can counter both creatures and spells, or creatures and non-creature spells alike. So maybe there's some room for that. We don't see like a Siren Storm Tamer or anything like that in this deck, but we do have a couple pirates with both Spectral Sailor and Warden Cutthroat. And you could go on the pirate side of this a little bit more, but I'm going to take a page out of Jonathan Hobbs' book, and we're going to take those extra spots from losing a Spectral Sailor and losing a couple moves in the main board, and we're going to go with Swift Warden. Now, this is a card that showed up in some Merfolk decks in the past, but what Swift Warden does here is it allows you to have a little bit of protection for your Brandborn Cutthroats, allows you to have a little bit of protection for your Merfolk Tricksters, and that's actually relevant. But in the end, it's also just a 3 mana flash 3/3 that can get some work done. If we happen to be able to counter a kill spell that was going to kill a Brownborn Cutthroat or a Merfolk Trickster, then we're pretty happy about that. But if we just end up with a 3/3 that we cast on their turn at the beginning of their end step or whatever, and maybe even ate something in combat with it, Swift Warden is a pretty good card here in this spot. The deck also runs a bunch of counter spells with Essence Scatter and Syncopate, along with Sinister Sabotage to allow it to play at instant speed. And one of the big problems with major or decks that are like heavily reliant on counter spells is if your opponent decides they're going to play at instant speed and play on your turn, and they play a land and say go, you end up in this draw go stalemate, right? Where you didn't play anything on their turn, you don't want to tap out on your turn, they don't want to tap out on their turn, and you get into this little battle that kind of goes back and forth. Well, that's kind of why this deck wants all the flash creatures, because if your opponent decided they weren't going to do anything on their turn, you're going to be able to play cards like Nightpack Ambusher, which just it's all about playing on the opposing turn. This is a 4 mana 4/4 that also gives other wolves and werewolves you control +1/+1. It has flash, and at the beginning of your end step, if you didn't cast a spell this turn, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token that will get +1/+1. Now, that's pretty sweet in and of itself, but when you have an entire deck built around not casting on your own turn, then you really start to abuse cards like Nightpack Ambusher. And this card did get a lot of hype at the beginning of the set, and I think that the card is very powerful, and it warrants the hype that it received. This is one of the main reasons we're allowed to play this deck, is because we have such a powerful threat like Nightpack Ambusher. Now, another card that has really carried its own in this deck is Frilled Mystic. Now, we've seen a lot of 4 Frilled Mystic decks before. We've seen the mid-range deck that like to play at instant speed by playing Nissa, 3 mana Vivian of the Wild, where it could cast at instant speed, and that's really sweet. But this deck doesn't need that type of thing. So flashing, isn't that a crime? I guess. I guess flashing is a crime. It probably should be, and I think this deck's going to make us wish that flash was a crime, right? So let's go look at the sideboard real quick. We've got some Spell Pierces, which is really good for getting that turn 2 Thought Erasure. We've got Aether Gust, which, choose target spell or permanent that's red or green. This is the cool part about this for me, that it took me a little time to wrap my head around Aether Gust. Oh my goodness, look at that. Is Madness here? Is Madness here? What is that? What is that quote there beside Aether Gust? Is that flavor text? The chill wind extinguishes flame and frosts the leaves on the branch. Frosts the leaf on the branch. Man, that's horrible flavor text. Whatever, moving on, but there's flavor text. Aether Gust being able to pick up a permanent or counter a spell on the stack, making them either have to redraw that spell, actually, shutting them out of their next draw. That's really powerful. So yeah, they may get their creature back, or whatever it was they were trying to cast, but it will cost them a card. So otherwise, they got to put it on the bottom of their library, and at that point, you've effectively countered it. We've got Cerulean Drake here, and the flavor on this one: dragons avoid the bright colors of its wings. See, we got flavor text on another card. We got flavor text. It's a thing. Cerulean Drake, really good card when you're coming up against the Feather matchup. The Feather matchup actually doesn't have a lot of ways to destroy Cerulean Drake, because pretty much every creature in that deck is red, red, white, that sort of thing. So you just have this like infinite blocker, and then that forces them to have to somehow have trample to be able to get through your Cerulean Drake. Cerulean Drake's just really, really good against the feather matchup. Mu Yang probably going to come out of the deck altogether. I think this is something people were trying a lot of, and I don't see her being that great. Um, I do like the +2 on Mu. The +2 on Mu. The +2 on Mu is really, really good. Like just making something lose flying, dropping it to the ground, making it, -2, -0. Until your next turn means you're not just getting run over. It's really easy to have another creature on the battlefield to kind of protect Mu, so that you can actually start getting into your 4/4 blue elementals, and that part's pretty decent. I will bring this in against control decks and things like that, but for the most part, I think these decks will end up dropping Mu. All right, Sir Eccles actually just mentioned replace Mu with Transmogrifying Wand. Now, Transmogrifying Wand is actually a really, really good card in this spot. And the reason for that is because this deck really struggles, if I can get it to pull up, with Shifting Ceratops. Shifting Ceratops can't be countered, and it has protection from blue. And without something like Transmogrifying Wand, the only way to actually beat an opposing Transmogrify, or beat an opposing Shifting Ceratops, is either put your wolf in front of it, that you probably don't want to do, or you need to put your own Shifting Ceratops in front of it. So I could probably get behind a Transmogrifying Wand there, just because it deals with the protection from blue. If you look at Jonathan Hobbs' deck, he actually had a Transmogrifying Wand in the sideboard of his deck, and I could get behind that, because I'm actually not liking Mu that much anyway. Do we have a Transmogrifying Wand? Do I really not have a Transmogrifying Wand? I don't have Transmogrifying Wand. What is this? I don't have one, and I've spent all my rares. I spent the last of my rares putting this deck together. Um, it's a really good deck though. Vivian Reed's also really good. Thrashing Brontodon, not one of the best cards in this particular deck, because it doesn't have flash. You do end up having to play it on your turn, but against red decks and things like that, it's pretty decent. Let's get Mu back. Let's get Mu back in here. I guess I'll have to pick up a Transmogrifying Wand, or give the opponent's Shifting Ceratop flying, then shoot it down with Vivian. Modern Problems. How do you give flying to their dude without blue, right? Like, is there a green card that gives flying? Just curious. All right. Anyway, we're gonna jump into some gameplay. I hope you all enjoyed the deck tech. If you did, don't forget to give it that thumbs up, and the the like button there, the thumbs up, or subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're just gonna play some Magic, right? We do have giant monsters for the next 37 hours, so we're probably going to play some giant monsters tomorrow, maybe even late tonight, but I'm going to play some giant monsters. So if you guys want to join me for that, that'll be a lot of fun. Narset and Nexus of Fate are both banned in that format, and Narset and Nexus of Fate are both banned in that format, but every time you cast a creature with 4 converted mana cost or more, you get to draw a card. So it's going to be an interesting format. And in all reality, mono red will probably just win. Like, you'll probably just whoop everybody with mono red. I don't think I can say no to this hand. Like, we've got 3 counter spells and a couple threats. So here we go. Make off with some bandits and back to Spain we go. Alright, so I mean, we get to hold up counter action from like here forward. Oh yes, that's a good target for an essence scatter. I just restarted Magic. Why? Why Magic? What's up, Justin? How you doing, sir? All right, so at this point, we might be able to get another Essence Scatter out. We might be able to Syncopate and Spectral Sailor. So it just depends on what the opponent goes for here. I would love to hit another land. All right, so we're going to counter Teferi for 1. This is horrible. Oh my goodness, Magic. And we start the beats. Arena hates me. You're probably right, Chris. You're probably right. Um, all right, well, now we have our nice little. He doesn't know if we have, an instant speed spell or not, because we could just be holding up the Spectral Sailor. So yeah. So I'm going to attempt my Night Pack Ambusher. Bam, that happened. Alright, well, we'll swing and pass. Our opponent did nothing. We'll see what he does. Like, this is pretty much how the game ends right here, ladies and gentlemen. We have at least the next few spells counterable. Now that he has black, I don't even want to draw a card here. I just don't even care. Now that I have another mana, that's going to be even better. Because we can do some crazy stuff like Frilled Mystic, counter. I'm not going to fight over that. I'm not fighting over that. Right? Like you want to kill my 1/1? Sure, dude. This leaves him dead. This should just leave him dead, right? Yeah, dead. Good evening. How the game's going? You just entered for game 1, match 1. Welcome to the show, Dragon Lord. Welcome, welcome. Justin Clay says he's pretty good. Him, the wife and kids and grandparents, and you've skipped town to Wisconsin and you're watching a 3-day rock festival. Yeah, sounds pretty good to me. Because they have like Thought Erasure, I want my Spell Pierces in here. I think Spell Pierce is going to be pretty good. I also like shifting Ceratops in this matchup. Vivian's okay, but I don't really want to go that far. I also think Essence Scatter is a little weak in this matchup. And I think that I can just beat the heroes. I want to say we can just beat hero. We should be able to beat hero, right? So can I take out like all the Essence Scatters? Maybe. Maybe we take out one Swift Warden. I definitely want to keep up counter spells. Like maybe Essence Scatter is weak here. We don't need Cerulean Drake. We don't need Aether Gust, so those cards are out of it. Essence Scatter is kind of maybe. There's an argument for Brontodon because like maybe you want to pop an Oath of Kaya, but I would actually just rather make sure Oath of Kaya doesn't hit the battlefield. Let's run it like this for game 2, and we'll see what happens. Don't forget to check out the Reddit. We've got guys posting over on Reddit, posting their decks. Go over there and give those a vote, and we'll play them next. Like if the ones that get the most votes, we'll play next week at on our subscriber day. I'm going to restart Arena again after this. I'll keep. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but I'll keep. And I would trade a Merfolk Trickster for a hero. So we want that. I mean, I've already got my colors, so I guess not. He has the hero. He has the hero. What if we just unsummoned it? I'm gonna attempt it here. I would like to trade this trickster for a hero. So in other words, if he wants to cast Tyrant Scorn, he needs to do it now. Like, what's the benefit to not casting this? What's good post board for the mirror match besides Ceratops? Transmogrifying Wand is what Jonathan Hobbs was bringing in. I don't have a Transmogrifying Wand, but I just never crafted them. But yeah, that's what people are bringing in because like in the mirror match you bring in the Ceratops and wow, all right, okay, got me. He got me. That means there will be no Jace this turn. Did he miss a land drop? Okay. Can we fade a couple turns here? No. Knew it was too good to be true. Do we unsummon this? I'm gonna go for it. I mean, he doesn't have any value on it right now. Brandborn is pretty good here. Because there's a really good chance that he just goes for hero again this turn. No, okay. So he wants to hold up like absorb or something. I mean, we've got plenty of mana here. So if I wait like 2 more turns, I can actually cast the shifting Ceratops. Do I want to fight over that? Not really. The problem I've had with the Flash deck is you really don't draw a lot of cards. Ceratops beats this, right? Spell Pierce changes things. Spell Pierce makes me think that I can stop like Teferi or something. So maybe we just give haste, or I like at this point I have to play Protect the Queen. But I also need to just finish this game, so we're just gonna try to finish it ASAP and just hope that he can't kill us. We're gonna go with haste. Okay. Ceratops seems so good. Ceratops is really good right now, logical. Like Ceratops is in one of the best spots that it could possibly be in right now. Ooh, that's interesting. With its death touch and life link. We don't care. It's a blue creature. It can't deal damage to Ceratops. If you can't deal damage, then you can't. Death touch means nothing. All right. You can't even block it, dude. We'll go with trample so that we can get in for a little extra damage. And then at this point, we just pretty much have to deal with what's currently on the battlefield. It's really weird to see a green creature with haste, though. Really? I mean, come on. We had like the crocodile, like Crocodile the Crossing or something like that. It had haste. I mean, it happens. It's not like the craziest thing in the world. I mean, so he's going to start sculpting a hand, start looking for mana. So as soon as I can get some value out of the Spell Pierce, I'm going to try. Right now, he's throwing away like elite guard mages and things of that nature. I guess I'll sabotage the Thought Eraser. I mean, getting a Surveil of my own doesn't sound horrible. Spectral Sailor sounds great. All of this extra mana. Ooh, he hit his lands. Like, what do you do with the Teferi? I mean, it can't bounce the shifting Ceratops. Maybe I should have cast Sailor on my turn. That just seems wrong, right? So he gained some life. It's not bad. Like, do we just eat the hero here? Or do we get to eat a spell? Opponent's doing some serious thinking, so he's got a kill spell, and he could kill either the Spectral Sailor or the Brandborn Cutthroat. Tyrant scoring on the Brandborn Cutthroat. Okay. Well, that does make things a little bit funny for shifting Ceratops. Which also means we probably just put the brakes on for shifting Ceratops. We do take 3 here. Him getting to sculpt his hand's pretty sweet. What deck is the opponent on? He's on Esper Hero, but the fact that he's got like Tomebound Liches and things like that, it's all pretty good. Just gonna pass here and decide whether or not I want to. Well, that made that decision for me. We'll see what he does. See him go to combat. We'll see what happens. The opponent's got 2 cards left in hand. He just, wow, swinging out. Okay, he's going to hold some stuff back. All right, well. We're going to go for reach. Block here, block here. Does this mean that the opponent's looking at wiping the board? Probably wouldn't be a bad time for it. Oh, okay. So he has to take out the Nightpack Ambusher. Otherwise, it just grows too far for him. Okay, well, I mean, we still have our draw engine. We have plenty of mana. What does that do, ladies and gentlemen? All right, so if he can block here for 2, he can block. So he can block 2, 3, 4. Ooh, okay. Maybe I just need to swing like this for a moment, buy myself just a little bit more time until we can get him down to lethal. Are we just dead here though? Yeah, I'm just dead. Yeah, he's got me. That's game. All right, we go to game 3. Go to game 3. Yeah, I really wanted to trade with that hero on turn 2 with that Merfolk Trickster, and just didn't get the opportunity. Now that I know the opponent's got a lot more creatures than I was expecting him to have, I'm going to get rid of the Swift Wardens, and I'm bringing my Essence Scatters back in. Also, he has the ability to deal with really small stuff fairly easy. I don't know. I like Spell Pierce against Thought Erasure. It seems to be pretty good. Nightback Ambusher's great. Syncopate's still good. Maybe Unsummon's not the greatest here. maybe I'll pull off one Merfolk Trickster, and we'll go that way. What do I think about replicate, repudiate, replicate? I can't say it. I think I can't say the name of that card. Um, the card's not bad. I mean, yeah, you're gonna give them a token for destroying their thing. You're gonna be able to go find something on your side. Like, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. You can't wait to draft M20. If you're a big fan of draft logical order, then M20 is probably going to be a fun set. From what I've heard, people are having a lot of fun with drafting it. I was watching what's his name, Nizohone. Some of you guys probably know it better than I do, but he's been doing some drafts, and he seems to be having a lot of fun with it. So I think we're just going to say no. Don't want a repeat of last time here. That's just lovely. Duress me? I mean, he's going to get something anyway, and I'd rather him take the Spell Pierce than take the Sinister Sabotage. He may still just go like land hero. He did. So I'm going to unsummon the hero. Like we're just going to keep buying as much time as possible. He may still go land hero, but I really want I want the surveil. I want to look for another land, but we'll we'll decide to hold off here. Oh, we paid the life to get the hero down. Either not be either. What? I'm not going to fight over this. Now we'll try to get something at an instant speed. He doesn't seem to be worried about it. So do we start like trying to race here? Now that we have a couple more counter spells for backup? Oh, you either make a token with a creature you control or counter an activated or triggered ability. That one. Oh. Hmm. I don't actually know. I don't really know how that particular card would fare out right now. There's another card that will allow you to do something along those lines, like Tail's End or something like that. It allows you to counter some stuff. Tyrant Scorn? Sure. I'll pull it up and just. Okay, so I'm thinking of Incubation Incongruity. Okay. So it's the one that copies it, or. So what would you be copying in this deck? And can you copy at instant speed with that? I really want to flash in this Merfolk Trickster. So now we're kind of losing on the tempo game here. That will help. I think I pass so he can't swing anymore, or it forces his hand, like forces him to actually do something. Okay, so when you copy a creature, it's sorcery speed only. Then, like, I don't know if I would like the counter spell aspect of it. Really want to counter this. Please play land and try to go for a 5-mana Teferi next turn. That'll help. Land Teferi. Do it, white deck. Come on. 4-mana spell or 5-mana spell? That ain't gonna do it. Well, it's gonna hurt trying to get back on top of this, because at this point he doesn't act like he's got enough of a board state that he doesn't actually have to continue adding to the battlefield. It's me that has to add to the battlefield, and he is gonna swing into it. Okay. So if we play Brianborn, we can also syncopate for 2, which would put up 1/1 counter on Brianborn. I think I have to Frilled Mystic here. Yeah. I just can't let him have the Teferi. 3 fairy is pretty good. Pretty good. And then he just has like Disfigure for this. Noxious Grasp. I can't even counter it. Oh man. Esper. So I asked the question, was this one of the best decks in the format? How does it fare up versus the other really good decks? And I guess I'm getting my answer. So even Little Teferi is broken? Where have you been, Logic? Yes, Little Teferi is absolutely broken. We're going to do it. We're going all in right here, ladies and gentlemen. All in. All in on a Brianborn Cutthroat. I'm pretty sure we die any other way. Pay for that too, dude. Got to pay for all of it. Wow, he just paid it for Surveil at that point. So the problem I had with this deck was it didn't draw enough cards. The only real draw engine in the deck is a 4-mana draw spell. Like, so it's a 1-mana 1/1 that is really easy to kill, and then you have to like pay 4 mana to draw a card. Speaking of said creature. Okay. This is what I was talking about in the deck tech. Like, this is when you want to see this card, is later in the game. So we're going to take 3 here. And that leaves us pretty much dead. Womp, womp, womp. Maybe he makes a mistake. Pretty sure we're dead here. I'm pretty sure we're dead here. Yeah. I would agree. And I think that's kind of the problem this deck has had with other decks. Like it does really well in in the you know in the wild west of a new format, right? I had just gotten back to Gold 1 last night. I played Feather after stream and got back to Gold 1. Looks like we're going back down to Gold 2, ladies and gentlemen. Alright. Applause for opponent for not being rude and killing our dude when he already had lethal. Right? Just turn sideways, dude. Just turn sideways. I should have blocked the tone bound just so like they traded. I don't know. The deck plays really well, but I don't know if it can beat 3 fairy. Right? Like if they can land a 3 fairy, your entire game plan's over. Like it's just over. I'm gonna keep this. We won! Yeah! Alright. Got there. We got there, ladies and gentlemen. Game 2. Let's do it. Well, I don't know how to sideboard. You're happy they made a 1 mana kill spell in black? Yeah, you normally have to be like really careful about 1 mana kill spells in black because like it's 1 mana cards can easily become broken because like the difference between a 1 mana card and a 3 mana card or a 2 mana card is huge. Like it's just huge. You won't be having that defeatist attitude, Eric. There's only room for one depressing pessimist here. Zax Dillo's here? What? I didn't know Zax was here. Baby T beats this deck badly. Yes, it does. That's why there's three spell pierces in the sideboard. Like you have to be able to stop thought erasure, and you have to be able to stop Baby T. The major reason for thought erasure is you can't let them have the information of your hand. This is gonna be a weird hand. I'm gonna keep it because like keeping your first 7 with this hand has been really crucial for me. Just because there's like not enough draw. Like these Spectral Sailors, they're not drawing me a card until like turn 4 or 5, right? Like the chances of me actually getting to draw a card off of these are slim. Hit that like button, y'all. That's right. Smash it. Smash that like button. Really? I mean, I guess we just counter whatever tries to gain him life next turn. I mean, we can always just unsummon it, right? Getting in there. Yeah, I can always just like unsummon it. Like if sure. Just want to smack me for 2. What? Oh, we got our blue manas. We got our blue manas. I'm just going to pass. Because right now we've got a whole bunch of tricks, right? Like if he just plays a Johnny and then goes to swing with the Healer's Hawk. There's Pride Mate. Do I let this resolve? Or is this like the card that just kills me? Green source, green source, green source. Come on. Come on. There it is. He has another Pride Mate. Well, we're not going to let him keep making or putting counters on it. We are not going that route. Alright. I will try this route, though. Hope he doesn't have kill spells. No pump. No pumps. No pumps. Mortify. So brutal. Look at old Mortify. So now we're on the 3-3 beats. Well, we can syncopate this for 2. Keep him from having that. I think that's the right play, is to syncopate that. He just went ahead and showed us his last card, which is a land. Now we win. All right. Start getting in for some damage. Unsummon. Deck seems a little mana hungry. It is. It's very mana hungry. I think this is definitely like a tier 1.5 deck. Did we get him, or did he get us? What is that last card? Did you get us, opponent? You got us, didn't you? An Adonto Vanguard. Well, an Adonto Vanguard is a pretty sweet card. This may be Scoop Central. Blockaroos there. What'd you get, opponent? What is your last card? Trickster block kill. Oh yeah. Yeah, oh yeah. Trickster versus Adonto. Oh, the number of times I have been able to do that to people back when I was playing the mono blue deck, because I played the mono blue deck for like an entire season. I actually still don't think it's a bad deck even right now. But I played the mono blue deck for a season, and it was terrific. It was just terrific. Like the number of Adonto Vanguards I've killed with Proc Tricksters is ridiculous, and the number of people that have tried to give it indestructible before, like with the trigger on the stack, it's insane. I can't believe people do it. Well, we got a free win there. It was a free win. Nice little easy win. And again, like what this gameplay is trying to, like, basically showing is exactly my thoughts. Was the deck is really good if you're not coming up against a format full of Esper, right? If you're coming up against a format that's still trying to define itself, a format that doesn't know exactly what's going on, or even coming up against a format that hasn't learned to deal with counters and things like that, then you're in a really good spot. And as long as people are still playing cards like Teferi, yeah, I'll keep this. As long as people are still playing cards like Teferi, then you get to get away with decks like this, because honestly, like, everyone thinks that counter spells are just obsolete. No good deck is playing counter spells, and this deck basically just says I beg to differ. Being on the draw doesn't help. I'm going to keep that. Being on the draw doesn't help either, because like if they get in this Thought Erasure right here, they take our Nightpack Ambusher, we's bees in a little trouble. We do bees in trouble. Yep. That's fine though. I mean, taking our Nightpack Ambusher hurts, but looks like he's looking for land. Looking for land in all the wrong places. This deck is a counter spell. That is basically the gist of it. Like that's let's try this Brineborn so we can make some use of our mana. He don't know about that land. He knows about this one, so we'll play it. We'll go ahead and try to get in for a couple points of damage. And now we're just going to try to ride off the back of Brineborn Cutthroat here. I mean, we've got good counter spells. Well, he knew he was playing into that. Like, he knew he was playing into that. He knows every card I have, and he knows he just has to play through them. Which he might have thought erasured and went, oh, crap. And we're just going to go on the Brineborn Cutthroat beatdown plan here. The beatdown's getting pretty serious. This is a merfolk. This is a merfolk, ladies and gentlemen. Just definitely want to throw that out there. We might have gotten ahead of Esper here. I would like to see some more counter spells. I'm going to let that resolve. We're going to give him hexproof, so this can no longer resolve. Swift Warden getting in, and that's the whole point of Swift Warden right there, is to be able to protect that Brineborn Cutthroat. All right, so he's got a lot. Okay, so what are we backing off here? One unsummon. All right, I want the Spell Pierces, and I want the Shifting Ceratops. So that means I need to cut 5 cards total. Nightpack Ambusher is great. So it's probably Swift Warden, especially now that he's seen it in game 1. He'll have to worry about it. And I think I'll just cut a Merfolk Trickster. And we'll roll like that. You wonder if Control is just going to go with Essence Scatters now because so many creatures with Enter the Battlefield triggers. So Essence Scatter is one of those cards that is always kind of like floating in and out, in and out, in and out. And it's just based on where your meta is at. Like if there are a lot of creatures being played, then a couple Essence Scatters is great. Like if you look a couple sets back, Essence Scatter was the counter spell that was used in Tamer and all the Tamer decks that got banned over and over and over until they finally said, okay, we can let this ride for the rest of the set. I have to mulligan this. It's horrible. All right, we can keep. Forced by, because we can play everything else here. So he goes Temple of Silence. So I've got to play Breeding Pool untapped unless I draw an island. Yeah, I still got to do it. Don't I? I guess I can play that on 3, right? Well, okay, so it's actually just like the nature of energy that's what made it so good. I'm gonna try it. Yes, yes. Then I'll have 4 mana. Wow, he's just passing back. This is so good. I would love to go into a late game fight with him, I think. I guess we try it. What? No way he just let that happen. There ain't no way that he just let that happen. Okay. I guess we try again. I mean, we still have the card. Sinister Sabotage. Dovin's Veto. Spell Pierce on the Teferi. We're fighting. This is a fight right here. He vetoed my Sabotage, so I had to Spell Pierce the Teferi. He scoops, and that's game. That's game. Psh, psh, psh. See, if I would have tapped out to fight over the Night Pack Ambusher, oh, it would have got me so bad. Like sometimes you just gotta let things happen, right? So yeah, we'll play one more. We'll play one more. These have been going fairly quick. We did beat Esper right there. I mean, the Esper player like was waiting. He wanted to get his Teferi down. He wanted to be able to have counterspell backup for that Teferi. All of these other good things. He played around Spell Pierce. Not good enough. That was pretty sweet. That was great. I growled like a dog when struggling to cast a dog. Aw. Did I really? All right. Maybe I'm Neanderthal. A lot of That's a horse right there. I didn't even mean to. I keep. I guess I keep. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but if we can get into the Sinister Sabotage, maybe we can start getting into some green sources and go from there. It was adorable. Oh, I'm glad you liked it there, Chris. I'm glad you liked it. You're ridiculous. Yeah, as far as energy goes, they did. They made a ton of really good energy cards, and I think part of the fact that there were so many good energy cards was because of the mechanic itself, right? It was a resource completely outside the game. That what am I gonna do? Unsummon this? I guess I can unsummon it now. Is there a reason to unsummon something? I can't believe he cast the Spectral Sailor on his turn. Like, that seems weird. Tranquil Cove? We're going to get beat by a budget deck, ladies and gentlemen. Good old budget magic going to tear us up. Well, look, man, I can't let you draw more cards. Right now, you've got 2 cards left in hand, and your best thing is 2 power on the battlefield. So, no, 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 no. No more card draw. No more card draw, sir. We've got an Essence Scatter. You know, if I play this now, we can keep up Sinister Sabotage, and I don't have to pay the life for it. Night Veil Sprite? Nah. I'm going to bounce Fairy Miscreant. And the reason I bounce that is because he could just flash this back. And I'm really just looking to counter any and absolutely everything I can. I don't think he's got a lot of really good spells. Looks like we're playing against some type of budget deck, but I always fear budget decks. Oh, well, just like that, because they end up with some crazy uncommon, that all of a sudden starts to beat you to death. So now we're really far behind in a really big race. So we got a 3-turn clock. We need to find some unsummons, which I Hanged Executioner? Yikes. It's like the budget flyers deck. That's not going to do it. I'm already holding one of those and can't cast it right now. That will help. That buys me a lot of time, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of time. So he tapped out on his turn to draw a card. He gives himself hexproof. That's pretty good. Alright, so now we have to win this race. Alright, 6v1. Like, we're doing 6 damage, he's doing 1 damage, and we just got to win the race. Simple as that. We just have to win the race. It's not horrible. It's not a flyer, but also not horrible. All right. He's facing lethal next turn. Again, tapping out on his own turn. Let's cancel that. Tap target creature, draw a card. Just counter that. Just so that he can't draw the card, right? And now he has to lose this because he has to block something. Yeah. Alright, so what did we change versus blue-white flyer? Well, I probably want this maybe over Swift Warden. Do I have anything else that's flying that might really help? Not really. Let's bring in Moo. Like, Moo just making one of his flyers all of a sudden like 0 power sounds pretty good. How's it going so far? We're in match 4. We've lost once to Esper. We've beat Esper once. I forget what the other deck we were playing. And where's the 3-drop Vivian? Why would we need 3-drop Vivian? Curious why you need that card. Like, we're talking about like the Champion of the Wilds, one that like gives everything flash. Like, everything in the deck already has flash, so I don't understand why we would need that card. It's a start. It's a start. I mean, he's on the play. He's got a bunch of little stuff, so to give your stuff flash, duh. Well, I mean, this has flash. This has flash. Like, everything's got flash. Wow. Are we just going to try to, like, Brineborn grow this out of control? Do I trade a Spectral Sailor for Healer's Hawk on turn one? The loyal Pegasus. That thing can't even attack by itself. Am I going to regret this? I mean, quite possibly. But depending on how things go, if we can get Brandborn Cutthroat down a couple times, we're going to be in a fairly decent spot. He is drawing cards. Winged Words, very powerful new M20 card. As long as you have a flyer, you get to cast Divination for 2 mana. And, you know, if you're like me, you're in love with some 2 mana Divinations. So let's do it. We do have to outgrow and outrun this. That shouldn't be very hard. But it could become problematic. Since he's in the air, we're definitely going to be swinging here. We start matching power as soon as he goes to cast something, because at that point then we can I'll probably Sinister Sabotage this turn. This way next turn I can get Essence Scatter and a yeah. That's lovely. Venerated Loxodon. Isn't that awesome? I'll also take the Unsummon off the top. So now we just have to race. So put on a couple counters. He's going to scoop it up. We're going to move on. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes. You know what? The deck took me out of gold tier 1, back down to gold tier 2, and then took me back up to platinum. So, hey, there we go. Not bad. Let's go talk about the deck a little bit before we wrap up the video. All in all, the deck is really sweet. How well it matches up versus the top 3 decks in the format, I haven't had a lot of problem with it. If you guys watched the Feather games, we played versus this deck twice in Feather, and you know, I can't say if it was piloting error or whatever, but we beat it with the Feather deck. Of course, we beat everything that day. That was great, 7-0. There should be like a link to it up there in the card box if you guys want to check that out. But if depending on how you play this deck out, this can be a really powerful deck. I think this deck needs to be in the hands of someone who plays patiently, which is probably not me, right? Like I'm go for the gusto, and even though this is kind of a protect the queen type of gameplay, it's not really, right? Because there's no queen. There's no queen to protect. You just kind of protect whatever you currently got going on, right? It's Pirelli. No one will get that joke. Anyway, Pirelli queens usually don't last more than 6 months, because anyone can take the queenship. Anyone can take the crown by force, right? So anyway, so you don't really care about what the queen is in this deck. Not like in mono blue and feather, which are the other 2 big protect the queen archetypes in the format right now. You know, mono blue being your tier 2. I think this one's going to be your tier 1.5, and then feather being your tier 1 protect the queen strategies. With mono blue, whatever has a Curious Obsession on it, that's your queen, right? With this deck, whatever's currently on the battlefield, that's your queen. Heaven forbid you get down Night Pack Ambusher, then you protect your alpha, if you will. You know, protect the ambusher in the pack here. But with Feather, you know, you can just kind of protect Feather. But Feather can play this way as well. Sometimes you just want to play a game of protect the 10th District Legionnaire, and that's kind of how this deck plays out. You stay ahead of your opponent. You know, always playing on your opponent's turn. and the deck really capitalizes on that gameplay style. It seems like the deck has all of the parts that it would need, including the fact that people are trading some parts in and out. Like we have Swift Warden that is in some versions of the deck. I've got it here in my version of the deck because I like the way it played. I like the way that being able to protect a Brineborn Cutthroat or being able to protect a Merfolk Trickster sounded really good to me. So I kind of like the Swift Warden. If you wanted to play Moo here, you could play Moo. I just personally liked the extra aggressive beater to give the deck a little more gas in that aspect. Um, the sideboard seems to have pretty much everything that it needs, maybe even a couple more shifting Ceratops. If you guys are on the transmogrifying wand technology, it's really good when you come up against the mirror match, because like if you guys are going to be playing this deck at some point or another, you're going to run into the mirror, and at that point you're going to wish you had a way to deal with its shifting Ceratops. Or if you're playing in the mirror, maybe you want to have 4 copies of shifting Ceratops so that they can't stop you, right? This card also just hoses mono blue. Against mono blue, if you get down to shifting Ceratops, you just win, which is why I said mono blue being your tier 2 format right now, because there is a card in the format right now that can just completely beats the deck, hands down, done. Shifting Ceratops, huge. If you're playing mono blue and you need a way to deal with shifting Ceratops, Aether Gust is your answer, right? And you have to catch it on the stack. You can't target the permanent once it's on the battlefield, but it is a non-counterable green spell on the stack that you can target and put it on top or bottom of its owner's library. For that matter, though, they're probably just going to put it on top and they're just going to recast it again the very next turn. But Aether Gust is your one few ways at being able to try to stop it. Shifting Ceratops, though, great card in the matchup. And the deck's pretty straightforward. Just play on your opponent's turn, counter when you can. When you can't counter, apply a threat to the battlefield, and be really careful on when you fight over your threats. If it's not a queen worth protecting, let her die. Get a new queen. Okay, like earlier, I didn't fight over Nightpack Ambusher. I just let him put it back in my hand, and that allowed me to have enough mana open to be able to make a play that caused our opponent to scoop. So, all in all, though, great deck. I had a lot of fun playing it. I hope you all had fun watching it. Thank you for coming out tonight. Don't forget to check the cards above for some other great videos. If you like the content, don't forget to hit that like button. If you like the content in general, maybe considering hitting that subscribe button. I mean, if you're still watching at this point, you really need to hit that subscribe button. If you want to help support the channel out, you can hit join here on YouTube Gaming, or you can visit the link in the description box to visit me or to join us over on Patreon. And for those of you that donate $10 or more, you'll get a deck doctor once a month. Everyone else, you get access to the Discord and polls and stuff like that. So that's all I've got. I've had a lot of fun. I hope you had fun, and we'll see you next time here on Sideboard MTG.